Welcome to Bench Talk, the podcast where I dive deep into conversations with inspiring artists to unveil the secrets behind their creativity, along with discussions and behind-the-scenes insights into the realities of building a professional art career. Welcome to an episode of Bench Talk. I'm your host, Tom Gerrard. This week, I'm coming to you live from the Darwin Street Art Festival as part of the Darwin Street Art Festival series I'm doing. While I was up there, I did a live panel discussion in front of a live audience, and I sat down with festival director David Collins, as well with artists George Rose, Caleb Schatz, and Ris Pikala. It was my first time ever doing anything like this, and it was great to do it at the Northern Centre of Contemporary Arts in Darwin. We had a great night, great conversation, and really got a lot out of talking to all the different types of artists. Enjoy. Thanks everyone for coming tonight. Really special to be here. I took part in the first Darwin Street Art Festival, and here I am back for the 10th one, and it's just been a great festival to take part in and just watch grow over the years. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Tom Gerrard. I'm a Melbourne-based artist and muralist, and I also run Bench Talk podcast, and that has been going for 10 years, as has the Darwin Street Art Festival, so it's a double celebration. And we thought we'd come together and do this live event. Before we get into it, I just wanted to acknowledge the passing of a great artist who was meant to be on the panel here tonight and also meant to be part of the Darwin Street Art Festival this year. That's Tommy Day, who was a close friend to a lot of the artists who are partaking in this year's festival. And it was a tragic loss for us all, and just wanted to dedicate tonight to him. With the panel we've got here tonight, I wanted to just highlight some different areas of the Darwin Street Art Festival. First up next to me, I've got David Collins, who's the director and founder of the Darwin Street Art Festival. And, without him, this would not be possible at all. So it was really great to have him here on the panel tonight. Then next in line, we've got George Rose, who's partaken in the Darwin Street Art Festival 4 times now and has painted large-scale murals all over the world and is really well-established and experienced artist and muralist. We've got Caleb Schatz, a.k.a. Caleb Dude, who has been part of the Darwin Street Art Festival since he was in high school, and he's a young emerging artist but who's already got a lot of experience under his belt. And we've got Ris Pikala, who's a first-time participant in a Darwin Street Art Festival, who's painted her first public artwork this festival, which is a really big deal. Like, to paint your first public artwork is it's a big hurdle, and it's great to see that new people are constantly coming through the festival, and the festival's also producing opportunities for people to get their start in art, and also like an opportunity to build their confidence as an artist, have their art seen, and grow their practice. So I'm going to kick it off, and I'm going to do like little sort of mini interviews with each person on the panel here, and I'm going to kick it off with David here. David, it's great to have you here, mate. It's I've been wanting to talk to you about a lot of this stuff this week, but you have been a very busy man dealing with lots of people, and it's just great to actually have some time to ask you some questions about Darwin Street Art Fest. And the first one is like, how did it actually come about? Like, how did the first idea pop into your head to create a mural festival in Darwin?
Thanks. Yeah, I think it first came about just from being a graph writer here, and I was a writer, so I just wanted to paint everything. And then we started getting some work doing commercial jobs, and we had some work with the Northern Territory government. We were doing a promotion for an event, maybe a rugby or something, and I went in, and I think it must have been a full moon, and I had my Yappa Yappa on, and I was like, you got to give us a festival. And no disrespect to the festival down south, but I was like, it needs to be run by locals, so it's not just a festival of Southern mob coming here and then leaving. I want the Southern mob to come, but it needs to be run by locals. We need to train locals how to operate machines and upscale. So that's what we did. And I kind of just went on a rant to Tony Cutler, and then she was like, could you do that rant again in like 2 minutes? I'll go get my boss. And she went and got him, and I just said it all again. And he was like, all right, can you do it in 3 weeks? And I was like, yep, no worries. Called Deviate, Who else? Macca, Cam Scale,
Fibs,
Fibs. Yeah, just called the OGs, and we got it done. And yeah, that first year was it was local teamed up with Interstate, and I was supposed to be painting with you. You're my hero, and it's going to be amazing. And then I realized I'd never been to a festival, let alone run one. I didn't realize you needed people doing shit, so I didn't do anything with you. I think I painted one water tower or something. And then
you got about 10 minutes on the wall.
Yeah. And then I had to run around just do everything.
Yeah. So it wasn't a hard sell to get the local council involved?
I wasn't the council, it was the government. The council went, it was the local government. It wasn't a hard sell, but I think I just was there at the right time because I'd seen some stuff in Singapore or something. So I just just timed it right.
Mm. And was it a steep learning curve, like having to organize lifts and and sort of tee up all the walls? I guess there's so much that goes into it that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah. The first few years there was a lot of hurdles with gaining trust with the building owners, and since like 10 years I kind of on first name basis with most of the people who own all the buildings around town. They trust me, and I kind of can look at a wall and know what machine I need now. Yeah, there's so much to learn.
Even after all these years and after all these murals, I think, so I was told today there was over 160 murals in Darwin now. When you first started, did you have any idea that 10 years later you'd still be putting on the festival and getting new murals painted?
Hell no. I didn't think we'd make 3 years maybe, but it just kept going. And I love it. Like 15 or 10 years ago, if you drove around with me or anyone sitting on this panel, maybe you'd see me going, oh, look at that white wall, look at that wall. And people would be like, what are you talking? Why are you excited about white walls? Now everyone in Darwin's a fucking street art curator. Like I can't go out without someone telling me, you should paint that wall and you should paint that wall. So it's good. It's part of the fabric of Darwin now. It's like, it's really become part of our identity.
Yeah. And just through, being here a few times and especially this time, it's been 10 years since I was last in Darwin, but, people hold you in really high regard and, speak really highly of you for, I guess, single-handedly, like changing the face of the city, bringing lots of culture, lots of art, creating opportunities for people and all that. Like, do you feel that when you look at the city?
I'm proud of the work. I'm not sure everyone likes me, but that's all right.
You can't please everyone, can you?
Nah, that's it.
No. And with the curation side of things, like how do you go about curating for the festival? Do you do you spend a lot of time on the curation, or do you have a team help you?
There's a few of us that have input to that. So the EOI goes out, and we have some years we've had like 280 like applicants. So we like to keep it at about 70% local, and then a few international, interstate, and then a bit of a cultural exchange as well, where we can. But we like to keep it diverse and keep it, I don't know, like different styles. Keep it fresh. The first few years we had to keep it pretty vanilla with to gain that trust of the government and the building owners. Then we started putting weird shit in. I think it made me happy the first year someone pulled me up and went, if I could paint over that building, I'd bloody get up there and do it myself, this old lady. I hate it so much. And it was just a Lisa King mural, but the dog had 3 eyes, so she was bugging out this old lady. Yeah. That made me so happy. I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I don't want them to all just love it. I want you to hate it and love it.
Yeah. I remember the first year, I think it was Loretta Lizio's wall. She'd like shown the design, but then marked up the squiggle grid. And then I remember that night you were called into a meeting and the business or someone, I think it was the government or the property owner was like, this is not what we signed up for. Like we've just got lines all over the place. Like this isn't what we agreed on. Does that happen much these days?
Nah, they know now. That was a shock for a few people when it first started seeing it, but nah. Sometimes we get up and do a little graffiti before we do it too. No one can see it. Take a photo and pretend that we're still cool.
And there's lots of people that work within the arts that aren't artists themselves. There's lots of different roles within the art world at large. But being an artist yourself and then managing and running big events like this, do you think having an artist perspective really helps?
Yeah, I reckon it's pretty important to be artist-led and have, worked, I don't know, to be an artist. Yeah, it's good. I think it's important. Get your hands dirty. Like, I'm the only one up here with bloody paint on me at the moment, eh? Oh, represent.
Yeah. And do you have any favorite murals from the last 10 years?
Um, I, I'm not allowed to do that, especially with you, my boy. Here. Nah, I got my favorite people who clean up properly.
All right, and do you have a vision for the future for Darwin Street Art Festival?
I don't know why they're laughing. Like every year I've wanted to quit from about seventh year on. It's pretty hard, but now I've got energy again. I reckon we've got a vision, but I don't want to talk about it. But if it turns out it's going to be fucking wild.
Well, I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, David. It's great to hear from you. And next up, we've got George Rose, who's participating for the fourth time. And I just keep coming across more and more of your artwork in Darwin. Staying in a building at the moment where you've got massive murals on the side of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, how have you gone about like learning to paint at scale like that?
Ooh. I think I guess like anyone, I think you start on a small wall and you think that that's big, and then you start on another wall and it's a little bit bigger, and you're like, oh shit, this is a bit bigger, and then you get bigger and bigger. But I think I kind of always knew that I really liked the bigger walls. Like, it's just a lot more fun for me to kind of paint on those ones. So yeah, my favorite ones are up here.
Yeah, and like, has your approach changed over the last 10 years? Like, so when you first painted for Darwin Street Art Festival, do you approach a mural in a different way now? Like, having learnt over the time?
Yeah. I think, the first time that I was here was 8 years ago. 8 years ago? 9 years ago. 9, because I was in the second year. So obviously I think that as artists you evolve over time. So like your practice evolves, the way that you paint, the subject matter and your style, everything kind of evolves, but also the way that I apply the paint has changed over the years. Like, I think the year that I started here, I was doing like squiggle grids and had a lot more of a graphic style, a lot more kind of like clean line work. Whereas now I just sort of freehand on the wall. Like, I've got my design, but everything I draw by hand. And so I've already, drawn the design up itself. And so I've just kind of got references and just kind of put it onto there. But I'm kind of treating it as a little bit more fun and play these days, which is really nice. So I'm trying to align the way that I paint with the way that I sketch as well. And that just allows for a lot more flexibility on the wall. And it's just a much better experience for me. I don't feel like I'm a printer anymore. I don't feel like I'm just trying to replicate something. I'm actually enjoying the process. And so what I'll do is I'll freehand, I'll sort of sketch it up and then add layers on, and then I might move something or change something or make decisions. And I still use the spray gun. That's my baby. I always use the spray gun. But aside from that, yeah, everything's kind of changing, I guess.
Yeah. And have you had to overcome any fear of heights? Because I've seen you working on some pretty big murals.
No, I think that I'm missing that part of my brain that has like a fear of heights. So when I was, my mom tells me this story when I was like 2 years old and first learned to walk. We lived in Bellingen and we had a house that was like a 2-story house, I think, on a hill, and it had a flat roof. And my dad decided it would be great to take me up there and just like let me run free. And so he did. He was just like, go be free, young child. And so I was just sort of running around on my roof. My mom has a fear of heights though. And so she was like on the ground, like running around being terrified. Also, when I figured out that she had a fear of heights, I used to climb up to the top of those slippery dips and just wait for her to like have to climb up after me and then slide down. So yeah, no, I've never been scared of heights. I actually really fucking love it.
Yeah. And like, have you finished your mural for this year?
I have finished my mural for this year.
And where can it be found?
You can find it at the Vatina by Argus. Is that what it's called? Vatina. Yeah. What area of the city?
Gardens Road.
Gardens Road. There you go.
Yeah, and it's good that it's called Vatina because
Vatina.
the other Argus apartments has your murals on it, and there's been a bit of confusion around. I'll meet you at the George Rose Argus building, and now there's multiples of them in.
I think
in
that there's
Darwin.
like 3 Argus sites here, and I've painted 2 of them now.
Yeah,
So yeah, good luck.
yeah, and yeah. So what's next for you after Darwin Street Art Festival?
So I am in what I'm calling my Most States of Australia tour right now, where I visit most states of Australia. After here, I'm ducking in and visiting my parents, and then I'm going to Melbourne, and then I finish up in Sydney before I head back to the UK and Europe, and then I'll be bouncing around Europe in their summer paint seasons over there. So that's probably. Yeah.
And you've taken part in mural festivals all over the world. How do you feel that Darwin Street Art Festival stacks up?
Darwin's my favorite. I don't even have to hesitate. It's I was having this conversation with like a few other artists. Like you've got to have a good crew of people. Like, and it's all about the people that you're surrounded by. Like Darwin has, it's got like a place in my heart. It has since I came here the first time, and it's all because of the people. And it's just the best.
Yeah, well, you've definitely left your stamp on the town, and I agree. Like I've partaken in a bunch of mural festivals, and Darwin I think is one of my favourites for sure.
Yeah.
Especially this year, I've from being part of the first year and now being part of this year, I've noticed there's just a big change. Like it's really really casual. It's like it's like you're partaking in a project with family. Yet it's professional at the same time. It's Yeah, it ticks all the boxes for me.
It definitely feels like a family. Like it's just, everyone is so welcome, and it's just really special.
Yeah. And what about the heat? Like, how do you go painting in the heat?
I fucking love the heat.
Yeah.
I'm powered by the sun. I go to like cold locations and I do not function very well. So yeah, I actually really love it.
Mm. And when you're planning for a really big mural, do you do any type of training for it, knowing that you're going to be out in the heat for a really long time working on something so big, and it's very physical. Like a lot of people don't realize how physical it is out there painting these big murals.
No, so I actually fucked up my shoulder from overuse over the years, like because I've been using a spray gun, and it's usually got 1 liter or 2 liters of paint in it, and you're holding it up for 8 hours a day. So I fucked up my shoulder, and so 2 years ago I had to start going to the gym, and so now I do it's called functional strength training, which is essentially just kind of like carrying around heavy kettlebells and doing lots of lunges so I can do my work. So yeah, that's the training that I do.
Yeah, it makes sense. Is it like I totally agree with that through having to sort of prepare for things like this because working in the studio is very different to working on a really big scale mural, and it's it does take its toll on your body, and I find that like working on smaller paintings or even sitting at a computer all day is also takes its toll on your body.
In a totally different way. Generally, the only time that I hurt myself is when I'm not painting walls. So I think that I've painted walls for so long and so many of them, but that my body's just used to doing it now. So when I don't paint and I'm at my computer for long periods, or I'm sort of doing stuff in the studio, that's when I'll hurt myself because my body's just not used to being so static. It's just used to moving around. And I had a chat to like Adonate and a few other artists, and they've all said the same thing. Yeah, like I injure myself when I'm not painting. It's like really weird.
Yeah.
Are you like that?
Sometimes, yeah. My problem is I'm still riding my skateboard at this age.
No.
Yeah. That's where most of my injuries come from. Yeah.
I don't think that's bad. I think keep doing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, George.
Thanks, Tom.
All right. Next, we've got Caleb. So you've been partaking in the Darwin Street Art Festival since you were in high school. Like, how did that all come about for you?
Yeah. Well, it started a few years before that. It was a festival where I sort of did like a little street art. It was focused at turning regular artists into street artists, and my art teacher at the time said, hey, you should apply for this. So I did. I got in. They didn't. On the record, on the podcast, I was pretty chuffed about that. But that's where I met David. And David was, I assume you were impressed with my ideas and my work ethic. And just through that, he was just like, hey, we're having a festival. Do you want to hang out and just help out? And so I did that initially. And that year, I would have been in year 11 in in high school. And then the next year I put in an application and I painted a mural. Took a week off school, bummed off. I was pretty stoked to paint a mural, and it was it's really special. Ever since 7 years, this is my 7th year. So yeah.
And how'd the first mural come out?
It was pretty good. Jordan and I painted it. Jordan's in the crowd. It's actually got a big metal pipe on it these days, but it came out pretty good. It was pretty rough getting the design across the line. I had a few sort of like sketchy designs that the building owner didn't like. And so I did 2 designs that were rejected, and then the third one that I did in 30 minutes was accepted with, resounding applause, which was, it's just how it goes, I guess.
Yeah. How do you go about submitting your designs? Do you work digitally?
Yeah, so I'll scribble around on my little iPad, and I'll do a lot of my creative sort of problem solving is on the iPad or on my little notebook. I'll try and, if I have a flash of inspiration, I'll draw it out as quickly as I can before it leaves on my notebook, and then I'll just take this hideous scribble and then I'll put it on the iPad and then I'll put it on the wall. So
and being around like so many murals and sort of growing up around it, did it sort of normalize large scale painting for you?
It definitely, I'd say so. I'd say there was definitely like a career progression. Like I could see I was obviously starting small, but at the festival, there's different size and different skill levels and different, artists from all over. And so I was definitely able to see the vision, and I was definitely humbugging David way too soon for walls that were way too big over and over and over again. And then I'd get a good one and then I'd be quiet for a year. And then the next year he'd have to, put up with me humbugging him again. But yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen you've painted some stompers out there. That's really, really good to be able, to come into it at your age and get such opportunities to paint such large scale murals, because murals have been painted all over the world, but not everyone's really getting opportunities to get on the scissor lifts and paint whole sides of like big factories and things like that. So I think you're very fortunate to be growing up in this environment where it is quite normalized for an artist to get involved with the festival and then have opportunities to actually then do this sort of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And like I think growing up in Darwin, like a part of me was, you have like, small town mentality, like, oh, none of my favorite musicians come, none of, all these sorts of things. And so I had a bit of that growing up, but then when I was getting into these murals and stuff like that, I'm like, man, I am getting opportunities to paint murals that no one else in the whole world at my age is doing. No one. Maybe, but I'm pretty sure that, no one is getting to do that. And so that made me feel really special, really, really special. And then to have like some of my like art heroes come to town, that was special again, And so art is, it's really, Darwin in particular has really, it's got a special place in my heart and for the dreams that it's given me,
Yeah. And have you learned a lot off other artists and artists who have come to town and through asking questions and watching?
Yeah. So I'll typically, especially early years, I'd just like, even if I, they didn't need my help, I'd just sort of like hang around and ask questions and just watch, like a hawk, and just to see what they were sort of doing, how they would hold their brush, what brushes they were using, all that sort of stuff. And I'd be, I was pretty psycho. I'm still psycho about it, but just, socially psycho, and so it's been unbelievable to be able to like look at artists who are at the top of the craft and just to, look and learn and ask questions. And, like the artists who have come this year in particular, really good friends of mine and, mentors that I've asked like lots of questions from. It's just a really special time.
Yeah. And you're about to head overseas. Are you looking to paint some big murals when you're over there?
Well, I hope so. I don't have control over that much. It's more of like a leap of faith. Just, just knocking on every door I possibly can and just, doing it while I don't have, kids and a mortgage, just, not that that's bad, but it would just be irresponsible if I were to do. I wish every person groaning had a mic so so the listeners could hear this. But yeah, it's just like, there's certain things that you can do at certain points in your life. And I'm really excited for this one. And yeah.
And going back to like learning off other artists, like what I find from coming to Darwin and looking at all the other artists' work on their murals, that everyone has their own way of doing things, and there's no right or wrong way. And I think through looking at lots of different artists, how they approach, you can sort of get 10 different ways to actually execute something. Have you found that you've got like a good arsenal of techniques up your sleeve?
Yeah, I've tried a lot of stuff, broken some equipment that, I've tried to experiment with. But yeah, I've definitely, developed the ways that I like to work. My PPE, I would say my personal protective equipment is most noticeably unique. I sort of look like a sun-safe Spider-Man, with no skin showing to the outside world, and still putting, oil-free facial sunscreen underneath. So
yeah, I saw you at the shed the other day, and you did look like you just parachuted out of a plane or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to the beach the other day, and I thought, man, this is the first time that some people are seeing my legs, So it was a bit of a leg reveal. So that was funny.
Yeah. So where can people find your murals in Darwin? Where can people find your murals in Darwin?
I've got a few murals in Darwin. This one that I've completed is on the back of Crocosaurus Cove in Shadforth Lane. It's just a lane full of local street art, and I'm pretty happy with that one. It's come out really well. It's my dad's favorite. Shout out, Dad. And I've got a few near the overpass. That's impressive. And a big kaiju one in Winnelly on Reichardt Road, if you're interested.
Cool. All right. Well, what's next for you after Darwin Street Art Festival? Any art plans?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Tom. I actually have an exhibition, which I'm really stoked about, on the 12th of June. So not this Friday, next Friday. I currently haven't finished all the paintings, but I will. And I'm very, very excited to show what I've been working on for, some years now. But that's going to be really special. And then after that, I'll just see what I can get done in UK. Hopefully performance art as well. That's a bit of fun. Anyway.
So what's the details of the exhibition? Where is it? And
Cubic Gallery, 12th of June, 6 p.m. And it's called Prophecy. Caleb, dude, Prophecy.
Oh. Can't wait to see it. All right, over to Ris.
Hello.
Hey, how you going?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
So you've recently completed your first public artwork. How did that go for you?
Yeah, I think it went really well. Well, I think it did. Yeah, bit nervous to start off with. You put an application in because your friends and family tell you you're good, and then you kind of work out if other people like it, and it's nice to kind of share the work with other people, and people connect with something in it, which is really nice.
You were saying earlier that it's on your workplace. Is that right?
Yeah, it is on the good place to start. Yeah, it's on the Casuarina bus stop campus. And I've had heaps of work colleagues come down and say g'day and say I like the colours or like the patterns, and have a bit of a chit chat, which has really been lovely.
Yeah. And how'd you go from converting your artwork from small up into a large scale? Was that a big challenge for you?
It's a nice small wall, which is kind of good. Like, it's not a massive wall. It was a bit of a challenge because I normally just do it on little A5s or A4 drawings. But I had some tips from Dave and Nikki and a few other people which was really helpful to sort of give me some tips around how to scale it up. I was a bit worried at first, and there was a couple of days where I was like, oh, maybe this isn't going to work. But yeah, I'm really happy with the nearly finished. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. And did you have any help from local artists as well? Like people help you out actually make the mural?
I think a few people did a few lines here and there for me, but mainly just me and the paintbrush, my dog on the weekend hanging out. Yeah, so that was good.
And have you been keeping an eye on the mural festival over the years?
Yeah, I've always been in and around Darwin for the last 15 years. So it's watching the art go up on the walls is really exciting for Darwin. I think a lot of people comment on how vibrant the city is, and I think it's really important to have that here.
And did you ever, years ago, like prior to now, did you ever imagine yourself partaking in the mural festival?
No, because I only ever muraled walls in my house. So I thought maybe one day it would be cool to do a bit of a mural. Just wasn't particularly sure how well the work, like the art that I do, would scale up. But now that I've sort of got a bit of a taste, I think I'd like to do some more.
Yeah. So you've been bitten by the bug, hey?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. It's really it's nice to get in your flow. It's nice when people stop and have a chat, and they see something, they like the colours, they like the patterns. And you kind of just get for me, it's just about getting my thoughts out and my inner world out, and to share that with other people is really nice.
Mm. And I find as well, it's a different creative experience, like doing small wrist movements through to full body movements. You know what I mean? It's like in the studio, you can be working on small details, and it's just really like from your shoulder to your hand. Whereas when you're painting murals, you're climbing up ladders, you're holding paint, the whole body is sort of activated in the art. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a few magnesium salt baths this week. So that's been super lovely to have a bath at the end of the day. And I guess I didn't really think about that at the start, but yeah, it's definitely a bit of a workout.
Mm. And do you think that through painting this mural, it's going to affect your smaller works as well?
Yeah, I think it's given me a lot to think about in terms of maybe doing some bigger pieces, looking at, I guess, how the patterns and colours interact with each other on a wall, and a textured wall. It's sort of been a good learning curve about that.
Yeah. And so where can people find your mural?
Yeah, just down at the Charles Darwin University Casuarina campus, right at the bus stop.
Okay. I look forward to seeing it. And what's next for you? Any plans with your art?
Yeah, I think I'd like to do an exhibition. I've got a crazy wild idea to do some furniture stuff and cushions and lounges and some fabrics things as well. So
Cool.
We'll see.
Yeah, it sounds exciting.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to hand it over to the audience, and we're going to do some Q&A. If anyone's got a question, put your hand up and we'll get a microphone to you.
Hey artist, it's Claire here from the Art Career Academy. If you've been creating for years and you know it's time to go all in on your art career, then Tom and I are here to support you. If you're ready to grow your visibility, build more consistent income, and step fully into life as a professional artist, that's exactly what we help with. Our signature program, Going Pro, is designed for artists who are ready to up-level. We support you with the clarity, confidence, and a solid plan to turn your creative practice into a thriving career, without the burnout or second-guessing every move. At the Art Career Academy, we're all about raising up the art community and showing what's possible when artists back themselves. So to get started, grab our free Creative Cashflow cheat sheet. It's packed with 20 tried and tested ways to make an income from your art. Head to artcareeracademy.com to download it now. Okay, let's get back to the episode.
I guess this one's open to anyone, but I'm curious about the relationship between like murals, street art, and graffiti, and where people's art or the street art festival kind of fits in with those different things and where they overlap?
Yeah, there are worlds that cross paths. Like you can't stop graffiti, and like a lot of us, I don't know, even if we didn't, I grew up on graffiti. Tom grew up on graffiti. I'm not real sure. Like, do you do any vandalism?
I still need to live with it, but not. I don't. Maybe better.
George is a vandal like us. Yeah. So you can't. Yeah, I think you can in Darwin. The graffiti scene and the street art scene live in unison. Like I run the festival here. If I take a graffiti spot for a mural, I'll replace it with at least a bigger spot or two spots. Like where, down south, you've got people that'll take a legendary graffiti spot and paint a fucking bird. Like, good luck to you. It's going to get bombed. Like that doesn't happen there because we work with the graffiti community and we're all one. Like, and what was it? Street art. What were you asking? Street art, graffiti and
Yeah, murals as well.
murals. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, and I guess street art's not quite the perfect name for what we do. Like, it's just a name that came up 10 years ago. Like, we're a mural festival. It's just a name that came out back then, working with the government. It is definitely a mural festival. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, there's street art's, yeah, it's just language, right? Like, I don't know. Street art's probably more stencils and other stuff and, I don't know, yarn bombing, even all that weird shit. Like, and then you got murals is what we do. So I think if you work it properly, and I feel like I do it the best way I possibly can here to keep everyone happy, but you can't. And sometimes they come into your exhibitions and have a fucking whinge, and then you give them a ring and they apologize. Yeah.
I was going to add to that. I feel as well with there's a passion that comes through painting graffiti that a lot of other artists don't experience because a lot of people are looking to sort of make a living off their art and then exhibit their art and get sales and all that type of stuff. Whereas with graffiti, there's no money in it really. It's strictly the passion of painting and the passion of getting your art out there and then having it be very public and then having it be seen by a lot of people. And then what I find from being around a lot of muralists who have transitioned from graffiti into murals and street art, a lot of them take that same energy and they just change the shapes from letters to something else, and then suddenly they can make a living off it. And it's really interesting. You go from writing your name and you go, well, I'm going to do that exact same technique and paint something completely different, and it's viewed differently, but that the same output is the same. Like I know when I layer up a painting, I'm thinking exactly how I would with painting a graffiti piece. Like I mark up and I fill it in, and then I add details, and then I outline it, and I'll put highlights and some background, and it's all exactly the same thing. But I feel that as far as making a living as an artist in the public space, the graffiti's are a real tough way of doing that, and only I think probably 5 people in the world probably make a living off actually painting graffiti, where there's thousands of mural artists all over the world, who are doing technically a similar thing, Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly add, I think a lot of people put an umbrella term over this idea of like anyone who paints on a wall is in the same kind of pool, whereas it's not. They're all actually quite different cultures. They all have their own different histories, and they all kind of like, even though we're all painting on the same surface, it's not the same. And there is overlap, but then there's also not. It's kind of like thinking about ceramics and, I don't know, ceramics and painting or ceramics and sculpture or whatever else. Like they're quite different art forms. They all have their own histories and they all have their own place within it. It's like an ecosystem that exists. And I think if we can think about it as more as an ecosystem where everyone is kind of like doing their thing, then that's a better way of looking at it than being like one versus the other, or like how they all kind of like overlap, because there's space for everything kind of like to be in that. That's all.
I think the word you use, intersection, is a really interesting word as well, because it really does feel like that. Because like and you talk about like graffiti and murals and fine art, and it's sort of, there is like a massive intersection within these lots of different people all coming together to make a living. Like I come from fine art, like doing little paintings, and then I've got good mates who do graph, and then we both meet making murals, and so you get lots of different people from lots of different backgrounds, and it's a really rich and exciting and a fun sort of community and culture. Yeah.
Agreed. Any other questions? Yeah, at the back there.
With there being so many murals in Darwin now, when are you going to start a construction company to build some more? Or how do you see that playing out in the future? If you made it 10 years now and there's more murals here or per capita per person, how does that look for the future?
They're going to keep building ugly buildings. We'll keep fucking painting them. Right. And like, there's a lot more walls, and it's painted. This shit fades, you got to paint it again, freshen it up. Except Hames and Resine, great quality paint. And Monarch brushes. There's heaps of walls, and there's, we'll paint grounds. Shout out Kip Bennett, and we'll paint anything. Anything.
Yep. Okay. I was just wondering for each of you guys, do you have like a favorite artist, or your like artist that you really still want to meet that you haven't met already? Someone that you really look up to, just like who's your inspo?
Hundreds of artists. Yeah, thousands, I'd say. And there's new ones popping up all the time. I think in this age that we live in, the digital age with Instagram and all that, and websites and all that, you just see so much. Whereas I remember, being a painter in the 90s, you had to rely on magazines. And then even then it was like, it was sort of frowned upon to send your own photos in magazines. You had to, hope that the magazine took a photo of your artwork and then it ends up in there. It was this really weird thing. Whereas now today, everyone's just sharing everything, and you're realizing really how many talented people there are in the world. And, week by week, year by year, there's just new generations coming through all the time, and it's never ending,
Yeah, I don't know. Same, there's just so many artists out there, but I got a fucking dream job, eh? I just got to handpick. Yeah. And the first few years was, not everyone would come, but they did. The first year, everyone I asked said yes. Thanks heaps, boss. And then it just got easier. Now it's like, it's freaky. I can call anyone anywhere pretty much. And because we've not, we've looked after everyone, and it's our reputation. George Rose brings us everywhere. And I feel like I could ask any artist that's a professional mural painter, and they'll say yes because they've heard about us, which feels fucking cool.
I'm just going to parrot what everyone else says and says there's so many artists, but the ones that I haven't met yet that I am desperate to meet is a duo out of Brazil called Bicicleta Sem Freio, and I fucking love them, and we've chatted on Instagram, and I've tried to bring them out to Australia, and I haven't made it to Brazil, and maybe one day we'll be able to hang out in cool t-shirts and paint things together. That's it.
Yeah, and you've got to have cool t-shirts or else it doesn't count. I think, it's really hard to put, like, I think, an artist's greatest asset is just seeing the beauty in everything, in nature, in other artists' work. And so it's really like, I feel like we've been all copping out by not giving it any names. And so I think it's good to get inspired by like people's approach. Like, I love the approach. David Cho, he's really interesting. I saw Renz's head perk up. I know he's a fan. A fellow named James Jean. Yeah, he makes phenomenal work. And yeah, and like you just go through phases of being inspired. Like, you know, there was a moment when I was like Cause and Takashi Murakami, like this really popular artists. But now, you know, and then I went through just loving like Claude Monet, like all these, you know, like, and you wouldn't think by looking at my work that like I would love these people, but I'm just like obsessed with Caravaggio and the ways that he uses tone and lighting to just tell really dramatic stories, or just film, you know, like a shot in a film. I'll pause it and I'm like, this is insane, you know. Or animation, you know, one frame of an animation. Like if they painted this is phenomenal, you know. But it's just like lots of different like art forms, and it's just like this whole world is so beautiful, and there's so many different people you can take inspiration from.
Yeah, I'm not really good with names, but I follow lots of people on Instagram. I love going to art galleries and like looking at people's art. I think there's opportunities to connect with different elements that people are painting from the experiences that you have. So for me, yeah, I'm not great with names, but yeah, I love art and I love looking at what people do with it in the different mediums. So yeah, that's how I get my inspiration.
Cool. Any more questions? On the back.
Hi, friends. I'm really interested in your opinions on being an artist and how it's changed in terms of like getting work and engaging with the world as social media has grown. Like, how do you feel about being an artist and also having to kind of be a content creator at the same time? Like, do you think that influences your ability to get work, whether you're doing that or not?
I think it's a real choice how you play that game, because some people focus on the content first and they're messing around setting up the camera and then sort of acting for the camera and then spending all their time editing it and then creating something to capture people's attention. And as an artist, I don't think that's a very clever way of building a career or making any money, because the content is becoming the art. Whereas if you're really making great art and putting it out there, I think that you'll get great content from that regardless. And I think as in this day and age, there's more ways to make money as an artist than ever. And there's more ways to gain exposure. Like a lot of the gatekeepers have fallen away. There are gatekeepers still at a certain level. But the opportunities now for artists to even, you know, to put on their own exhibitions, to build a website, sell their own art, you know, do brand collabs, like, you know, murals have taken off over the last 10, 15 years massively. Like there's so many different ways for artists to put their work out there. And I still feel that that public art outweighs a social media presence. Like I prefer to have my art all over cities all over the world and having people see it in the flesh than people look at it on a little screen. You know, it cuts off a lot of the energy that goes into the art. Yeah.
Cop out. Yes, you are. You can just talk about it. Yeah, that's a very optimistic and lovely positive view of social media that you have there. It's how you roll. Yeah, it's good. No, I think I struggle with it because I don't naturally like to. You're right in saying like it's a choice to set up and to capture the content, and in order, like it's kind of like another task on top of being an artist and running a business. As if you can choose to be an artist, and that's great. You can be an artist and you can earn money via another vocation or whatever else. But if you're as a working artist, a lot of the times you do kind of need to do a lot of self-promotion, and if that's not a natural thing that you are good at or like to do, like it's just another task on top of, you know, running a business and being an artist and being a creative and whatever else you have to do. So it does kind of like, I don't enjoy that. I think that there was a time with social media where like the content that you created isn't like you could just create your artwork and then post it and people were really excited about it. But now it does seem to be that it's just largely within society, things are gamified a lot more, which makes it really difficult to engage with it. I don't know what the answer is. I also prefer people to see things in person. I prefer to have face-to-face interactions. I prefer to have one-on-one interactions with people as opposed to kind of just projecting something out into the world. But it is something that I think you still have to do as an artist. I still think you have to be engaged with it if you do want to promote yourself, if you do want to reach places that you can't. Like, I've got so many opportunities from, Instagram and social media and whatever else, just because people who won't have seen the walls or don't have access to my artwork have seen it online and then they've reached out, or I've got something that I can kind of show people. So it's such a double-edged sword. And it's tricky. Like, it's a hard one to kind of like navigate, but it's there.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as you. It just feels like, I don't know, my brain works like on tracks, and like the tracks don't steer anywhere near making little videos for it. But it is, I feel like it is necessary to a certain degree, and I see some artists have really good relationships. Like, I think Kit Bennett,
Kit's amazing.
he does really well. It doesn't seem like he spends any effort in it, but they're just
he's
phenomenal.
Naturally so good at that. And I think that if you're really good at it, it's great.
Yeah, and so like I think it's a skill, and it's a discipline, and you can get better at your skills, and you can become more disciplined. And so it's something I would like to do, but I'm just not that way inclined. Same as George, but yeah, it can be really fun though, seeing the ways that people, because again, it's so like there's just so much content of art out there, because there is a pressure. How many videos have people seen where they have their canvas flipped around and they like flip it around, and it's just a ripoff of like Basquiat or something like that. But you can see some really, really cool ways that people engage audiences through social media, and I wish I was that way inclined, but I'm not. But maybe I can work towards it.
Any more questions?
Hi. I was just wondering how you guys individually approach kind of working in a very public way when you also, at least some of you, have experience in the studio, and like creating work, you can get quite focused and quite introspective and kind of lost in your own world while you're painting or you're making. And so how does that then get impacted, or how do you navigate that when you are doing it in a very public space and there's people coming by asking questions? I mean, I'm sure you're less accessible up the top of like a scissor lift at the top of a building, but I was just wondering how that both impacts like the way you approach working and how you navigate that.
Yeah, I think it's a artist by artist, different cases, but I feel that artists who make artwork that's not so public friendly in the studio, I think they might need to consider the public when painting, and that might mean like diluting their message sometimes. But which isn't always a good thing for an artist. But if you've got something that could be quite scary and confronting for people, like maybe public artwork isn't the best thing for them. But I find that there's give and take, and especially with public artwork, there is, like with a mural festival like this is amazing because David gives us free reign to paint whatever we want. Like, we have to get sign off from the property owner, but it's really up to us to put our ideas forth and just think, you know what, this is what I really want to paint. And whereas when you're working with, say, a business, and they're like, oh, I'm a butcher, so it has to have a butcher vibe to it or something like that. Suddenly there's a brief, and you've got to answer that brief, and you've got to start thinking outside of what you would paint if it was an open brief, and then start to answer that. So I think that working in the public space, there is always a little bit of that. You don't want to you want people to enjoy your artwork, really. You want people to walk past and say, wow, I love walking past that artwork every day and having that in my life. Yeah.
I don't actually paint outside. I steer this big old ship that is the Street Art Festival. But my art is finding a wall that I know, and then I can curate what goes on there. So if a building owner's like, I just suss them out and I know which ones I can get away with really weird shit on there, or this one needs to be a bit more vanilla. Bird people, they can go there, and what? That's okay. I love the birds. And then, and then you got the walls where you can just do big King Kongs and big sister girls, Then you get someone who's like, I want to paint a Tijuana sister girl. And I'm like, a building owner told me, don't show me what you're doing. So guess what you're getting? And that stuff, that makes me happy. And then I get to give these artists the opportunity to do weird, big shit. And that's awesome. And then some of them like to go up boom lifts so old white men don't talk to them. And I'll pass the mic to George Rose.
It is. I mean, I think that painting in public, it's really interesting, right? So you're so accessible, and especially when you're on ground level, but not only when you're on ground level, even when you're up in a fucking scissor lift and you have headphones on, apparently you're still accessible to the public. It's so strange. Like, there are no other jobs, I think, of people working in public where the public think that they just have complete access to you all the time. And it can be very tiring. I think I'm always really excited that people are interested in the work that I'm doing, because it's great. Like, it's amazing when people are interested in art, and it's awesome when they want to interact with you, and it's awesome when they want to engage with you. But it's also exhausting, because our jobs are to paint murals and to create, artworks. And I think a lot of us are introverts at hearts. Like, a lot of us actually, like, we want to do the same thing that people do in the studios. We want to just get into the rhythm. We want to get into the flow. We want to paint. That's what we want to do. That's the thing that we love to do. And then someone wants to come up and point at a mural and ask if you're painting it. And it's just like crazy. Literally every single wall I've painted on, I've been asked if I am painting it. So it's so, like, it's strange. And I will never get used to that aspect of painting in public, is just being accessible. And also it's actually quite interesting to me, the thought process of why the public thinks that you're accessible as well. And I wonder how other artists experience this, whether it's also, maybe there's a difference in like gender as well, in being a woman on a wall. Like, you're even more accessible as well because you're a woman and you're there and you're in your public and I want to talk to you. So, yeah. It's strange, it's exhausting, it's fun, it's all of those things, but it's weird.
Yeah. I definitely can get a lot of that. I'm actually pretty differently wired. I love talking to people.
You're a big extrovert.
I'm a big extrovert. I do sometimes, like, I may not come across as an extrovert if I get into the zone and then I'm just terrible conversation, and then they'll be like, oh, are you painting that mural? I'm like, yeah. And I'm not like letting them distract me. So, and then I realize like they're still standing there like 2 minutes later. I'm like, but I think that art is, and it used to have a lot of this, art thrives in an environment where there's discussion around it. I think that, we've missed a lot of that. And I personally have missed a lot of that. Like, I love to talk about my work. I love to talk about meanings and inspirations and all this sort of stuff. Like this mural I did, I took inspiration, the helmet design. Well, I took inspiration from a video game, and 3 people came and was like, "Hey, that sort of looks familiar. What did you take inspiration from?" I'm like, "Oh, have you heard of blah, blah, blah?" They're like, "Yes, that's it." And just seeing their face light up over a shared interest is just really cool. And I think also within that, like the health of the art space, I also feel like we're getting into a hot take. I think that discussion is not only helpful to a healthy artistic environment, but the lack of honest discussion is actually detrimental to a healthy artistic environment. Because I remember seeing like some performance art where this guy stacked like 10 buckets of sand on top of each other, and he cut a hole in the bottom, and it slowly leaked, and then it fell. And everyone clapped. I think that's so stupid. I'm sorry. I just think it's ridiculous. I think art should inspire, but I feel like people have been like, I feel like there's been this sentiment that if you don't think that avant-garde nuanced art is interesting, then you have bad taste in art because you just don't get it, you know? Like, then it's on you because, you know, you're not, you know, high-minded enough to be able to appreciate, you know, the nuance and the, you know, thing. But I just think that like within that environment where it becomes this echo chamber of like just bad ideas or, you know, just interesting ideas maybe. And I'd be so excited if someone told me that I was wrong right now, because then that would prove me right. But I just think that like I just think that it's really, really important to get feedback on art. And just like, you know, when I'm talking with my artist homies, like chances are I'm going to love all of their work, and I do. But like when just some random guy pulls up, you know, he has no like personal stake in whether or not he likes my work or not, or whether he hurts my feelings or not, and he'll tell me, you know. And that's really good. I like that. Sometimes it can be really annoying, especially if I'm really tired, but that's my hot take.
For me this week, it's been really interesting. I think the element of painting in your workplace, and also being a first-time artist, like the excitement of painting your wall and sharing your art, and being at the bus stop, like that bus at Casuarina comes every half an hour. So you've got like people coming and going the whole time, and some people, you know, like they're just saying, "Oh, that looks great," or "I like this color," or "Oh, that's interesting. What does that mean?" You know, you get all the questions and things like that. But also, I think, yeah, for me, being at my workplace, like even though I get to paint what I want and share something deeply personal to me in that creative process, I'm still kind of probably an ambassador for my work, and also an ambassador for the Street Art Festival. And so, because, you know, they're seeing my back, they're like, "What's the Street Art Festival?" And so and a lot of international students came past on the bus. And so for me, they're wanting to have a chat and they're interested to know about what the Street Art Festival is. So you kind of take on this role to be an ambassador for both organisations in this week, and to share the work and to talk about the other artists' work, and have the booklets out and things like that. I made a lot of mistakes chit-chatting to people and thinking that I could do two things at once. And then I realised, that's not where that was meant to go. But, you know, it's paint. You can paint over it. Just wait for it to dry. But, yeah, like for me, yeah, there was times where you kind of get in the flow and you don't want anyone to talk to you, but at the same time, people are generally interested in what you're doing, what the organisations are about. So you want to share that and you want to promote people's works. And the more people are interested in the Darwin Street Art Festival, the better it is for Darwin. So that's sort of the angle that I kind of took this week with engaging with people.
All right, there's time for one more question if anyone's got one. Here we go.
Yeah, question for any and all. Whether it's this year or previous years, what's been the most surprising thing about being part of any one of the last 10 years of the festival? What have you found the most surprising?
I'll kick it off. I guess for me, it's the vibrancy of this city. I'd holidayed in Darwin, but I'd never come here for work and to be part of the art community. And it's just it's so well received in this city. You know, I've been to other parts of the world where art's just not as well received as it is here, and that's something that I wasn't expecting it at all. And just the knowledge of the locals as well. Everyone seems to really be across what's going on in art, outside of Darwin as well, throughout all of Australia and then overseas and everything. And it's great, and I think that really adds to the festival, and also it keeps the standard really high because they're looking at it through a world-class lens. There's not just this local thing that, and that's it. It's they're wouldn't want to say competing, but they're the way that David curates the festival is world class. I'd say that,
Yeah, I reckon the biggest surprise for me running it and curating it for the last 10 years is how well received it was, just generally, like broadly. Like I know homeless mob, I know politicians and everyone in between, and they'll all tell me what's their favorite mural, like people that sleep on the street, people that own the buildings, everyone fucking has a part of it. They'll tell me what they like, what I should have done differently on that one. Bro, you haven't had a shower this week. Don't tell me how to paint a wall. I just love it. Everyone, like young, old, everyone's got a favorite. And I tell a story about how I started painting. Is I seen a graffiti piece at Casuarina High School, and I was in primary school, and I used to ride my little bike down and look at it. Then I figured out who painted it, and he was like this older dude. And then I got to about 18, and I started painting about 19, and he's my 26 then. And I got brave, had a few VBs, and went up to him in the pub, and I was like, "Hey, man, your piece you did in high school, it inspired me." And he goes, "Yeah, I know you are. You do all them things for the nightclub." I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah, man, that piece you did at school inspired me." He goes, "I didn't mean fucking anything. It was just a project for school." And I was like, "Whoa." And I was like, that was kind of funny. And now I'm like, man, that inspired me my whole life. Now there's a fucking city full of murals done with love. Imagine what that's going to do. There's one monster we created here, look, Caleb. But it's gonna be just a game changer.
Yeah. I think my answer is kind of weirdly similar to David's one, because I think I was here in the second year, and there weren't that many big walls that were painted in the city. And I think what has probably been the most surprising thing is just the complete embrace of the festival and of the murals by the community and by everyone in Darwin. And it's now like part of the identity and a part of the fabric of the place, because not all places embrace it in that same way. Like I've painted in so many different locations, and not everywhere comes together en masse and on a whole. Like there's always like the small niches or the small pockets of community in certain cities and locations that really love it and really love the murals, but it seems like ubiquitous here. It's everybody loves it. Everybody is so like, pro the festival and pro the murals and that sort of stuff and the artwork. So I think that that's like a really beautiful and lovely thing that I've witnessed myself over the last 8 years, 9 years, however long.
Yeah, I think the thing that surprised me the most is a happy surprise. Like I had always thought that being an artist wasn't a possibility, but like living in Darwin and like doing stuff with the Street Art Festival, like it gave me dreams that I never knew I had, and like what better surprise is there than that, to give you ambition and to give you like direction and purpose. It's like how, without thinking that it's possible. What a pleasant surprise is that,
Just the amount of people that just really enjoy the Street Art Festival and come out to the uni over the weekend and said, they've been on the trail looking at all the murals during the city, and then they were coming out to the university to see it. So, I think just how much people really love the murals and how much they enjoy them around their city.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. I hope it's given you a bit more of an insight on how the Mural Festival works, like some insight from the artists and what they experience through creating their artworks. And and if you haven't gone out and seen all the murals that are popping up at the moment, I recommend getting one of these booklets. There's a whole bunch by the front desk, and there's maps in there. And get out there and go see all the new artworks and all the past artworks from the last 10 years. Because I keep turning corners in this city and finding new things that I didn't know were there. And drive down the street and see a new mural in progress, and it's just really, really exciting. Just cruising around the city and just discovering art. So yeah. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you all have got a lot out of these conversations and get out there and enjoy the artwork that's been made.